Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Look, this is one time I want to be wrong. I absolutely want to be wrong. And why do I want to be wrong? Because I tell you what, if what I am starting to see happens to be right, then, folks, I don't want to say we're in trouble yet. I don't want to say that. But what I do want to tell people is that we have to get serious about what we're doing. I've spoken about, I spoke about this during the Hillary Clinton election, and it so happened that I was completely slaughtered by those who thought, you are just being pessimistic. These things can't happen. Well, it is different again. And we're getting the same kind of reports, and we're getting the same kind of behavior, and we're getting the same kind of coasting, and we're getting the same kind of performance from our party, from those folks who consider the Democratic Party theirs. We're getting the same performance that we are kind of too used to right now. Anyhow, today's show is going to be about what? Today's show is going to be about whether or not we're doing all that is necessary to win. Whether it's not, we're doing all that is necessary to win, and whether the Republicans are going to pull one out of the hat. And my contention is that they are working on figuring out if they just might be able to do that, and we may be the ones handing it to them. Folks, if you're just joining us, please remember that what we ask you to do right up front, and that is please go ahead and share this program. That is the only way that we are ensuring that the progressive message gets out. That is the only way we're ensuring that we're enlightening people to the things that we need to really get done if we're really going to start taking back over the progressive base. It is so imperative that we do that. It is so imperative that we share. So what are we going to really talk about today? What we're talking about, and by the way, this is a call-in show. And I tried to get it on Instagram, and as soon as I was putting the promo on Instagram, it's crashed on us. I mean, it completely crashed, and I was going to throw the telephone number out there for some of the activists on the ground to give us a call. So, folks, if you're out there, happen to be watching on Facebook or whatever, or on your phone or whatever, please give us a call at 646-716-5812. You're an activist? Man, do I want to hear from you. 646-716-5812. It is so important that I hear from I hear from you all the time, but I would love to hear from you folks on the call, because you know what happens? A lot of folks don't realize what's going on. Anyhow, if you're just joining us, please share the program. Share the program. Anyhow, the title of the show today is as follows. Ignore the polls. First thing I try to tell everybody immediately, ignore the polls. We don't want to be listening to the polls at this time at all. Second message is, or rather the subtitle is, I am tired of the timidity and refusal to fight of the Democratic Party. As progressives are fighting, many Democrats are refusing to engage, settling instead for a coasting to a win that may not happen. Do you agree with that? Do you think I'm, let's say, completely full of it? Do you think I'm unrealistically pessimistic? Actually, I'm not pessimistic. Right now, it's not pessimism at all. Right now, it is concern, and it is, I think, legitimate concern that I hope many of you would not only put out here, while we're talking here, but also put out to the parties and to all those that are involved. Because, folks, the worst thing one can do is pull a defeat from what should be a sure win. Anyhow, last night I went on one of my Facebook rants about the apparent, yet again, dereliction of duty. I went on that rant once again, that dereliction of duty by the Democrats to seal the deal. This show today is not about disparaging the Democratic Party or any Democrat in particular. It is about trying to bring awareness of what many, and this isn't just me saying these things, right? I have quite a few listeners that would send me messages by direct messages, and the message is constant. Are we blowing it? Are we losing it? There's another listener that I have that send me messages with the poll numbers just about every day. This is where we're at. The poll has dropped a bit. It used to be 1 in 9. Now it's dropped to 2 in 7. Now, it used to be, and it continuously dropped. Well, today, FiveThirtyEight had what is it? Some 58 had FiveThirtyEight. What's wrong with me? Has a little uptick in the probability of winning the House, et cetera, et cetera. But these are all instant polls, and these numbers change as we go on. What has to get done is a narrative, a narrative that we put out, something that what I'm seeing now is exactly what the Republicans are building up on. And you know what's the worst part about all of this? The narrative, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, the narrative that they are building, is a believable narrative for the uninformed. But guess what? What percentage of voters are uninformed? See what I'm saying? So we cannot rest on our laurels at all. So anyhow, continuing. This show today is not about disparaging the Democratic Party or any Democrat in particular. It is about trying to bring the awareness of what many of us on the ground are seeing and what many potential voters are telling us. Republicans seem to be on a crescendo. Many continue to look at FiveThirtyEight and balk at that claim. But it is not difficult to see the discipline with which it is being built. Today we discuss that, as well as how do we force Republicans where they belong, on the defensive for poor and middle class hurting policies. That is what we have to do. Anyhow, good afternoon, Michael Rudnin. Good afternoon, Kathleen Marine Morgan. Good afternoon, Alex Ballard. Welcome aboard the show. Please, folks, if you're just joining us, I ask you to please share the show on your Facebook page, your Facebook wall, your Twitter page, all these other areas. This is how we are going to start getting the message out. Now, this message again today is not a pessimistic message. It's a message that says 28 days, it is time to get busy. 28 days left till the election. It is time to get busy. And who is it that's going to make the difference? You're going to make the difference, including by sharing all these programs as well. But we have to get busy to get it done. If you're just joining us, folks, please share the program. One of the things that concerned me was the way Trump came out with Kavanaugh last night. I don't know how many of you saw when he brought him into the fold, when he actually brought him in. Here is the problem, folks. He had the complete platform, the full Monty. He was completely in charge of the media last night. Those people that hate Donald Trump, those people that follow Donald Trump may look at it as like, hey, well, we know he's full of crap, or whatever you may want to say. But you are not, you politically active people, you folks that are listening day in and day out, you are not the average voting American, right? Trump looked great last night. Trump, and I know that is in our circle, that is infamy, that is blasphemy. But I'm telling you what, I don't look at things through my eyes only. And that is what a lot of us as progressives tend to do. We tend to look at things the way we see it. We tend to look at things through our framework, through our own ideology, through what we know, in many times that we know quite a bit more because we do the necessary work to do so. That is how we look. But in politics, you can't do that. It's a losing message. And Republicans started to win when they realized it wasn't about truth. It wasn't about facts. It wasn't about what we're doing for you. It's all about perception. Do we perceive you as strong? Do we perceive you as someone who's going to do something for us? Do we perceive you as someone who's going to win? Do we perceive you as someone who's going to protect us? That is all Americans see in the aggregate. The technocrats, we, the progressive activists, and we know the technicalities of what's going on. But that's not enough. Because the average American citizens, if you take a look at some interviews that were done today on some school campuses and just people out in the streets, those of us that are engaged constantly with this politics, a lot of people aren't. We are, but the vast majority of Americans aren't. They just get the headlines, and the headlines that you find on ABC, CBS, NBC, and these places are the headlines that, in general, are conducive to all the things. Look at how they're promoting Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump had the best week in his life. Donald Trump had a great week. He's winning. The economy is booming. Did they explain to the American people that if you take a look at the economy, this boom has been going on for a while, and if one thing, the slope has flattened? Did they tell Americans that? No, they didn't. They just said, oh, incrementally we're rising. So that is what Americans hear. Now, he got his tax cut bill through. Did they tell Americans what that tax cut bill means? No, they didn't. They may say it in passing, but they don't quite say it. Who is supposed to be doing that? The Democrats. Whenever did the Democrats, well, let's go to the blog of the week, because I'm going to first hit this in the blog of the week. I tried to get a message out. I want people to call in. Anybody that's an activist on the floor or on the ground, and if you're listening right now, go ahead and give a call to 646-716-5812. I mean, if you're on the floor, you're probably on the floor. But anyhow, give us a call. I have one call, a Skype call. Let me bring that in real quickly, and then I'm going to the blog of the week, because the blog of the week is rather important, my dear friends. Who do I have the honor of speaking to on the line right now?
Yes, my friend. This is Mike from Singapore.
Hey, Mike from Singapore. Mike, my friend from Singapore. Great to hear from you, sir. Give me
always your shows are number one. Your shows are number one. Even Nikki Haley resigned from United Nations today.
Yes, she did.
His regime is torn apart every time by resignation of XYZ.
Right.
I mean, never been in the history of United States like that. I mean, if you are United Nations,
my friend, Mike,
representative.
Mike, I want to ask you to hold for later in the show, because what I want to concentrate on right now is the Democrats and them taking back control. I'm going to bring you in a little later, but I want to get to the blog of the week and then we talk. Sounds good?
Sure.
Thank you so kindly, my friend.
Sure. Okay,
absolutely. Okay, folks, do you know what time it is? Do you really know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay, folks, the weekly blog post, the title of the weekly blog post, and I just wrote it, and I didn't get a chance to completely bulletproof it. When I say bulletproof it, I mean make sure it doesn't have some typos or whatever, so I'll do that afterwards, but I had to get it ready for the show. But here we go. Title of the show is Americans Like Winners. Democrats may allow Trump a midterm 2018 win. You heard what I just said? I didn't say Trump was going to win. I said Democrats may allow a Trump midterm 2018 win. What do I mean by that? Let's get busy. Progressives have reason to be upset right now. Why? They are watching a blue wave in danger because of a Democratic Party attempting to coast to a win. Prevent defense always loses. Again, prevent defense always loses. And Americans like winners and fighters. You know, I mean, even you remember the old days when it was in the old days when chauvinism was in style. You know, the girl wanted the bad boy. Why did she want the bad boy? Because he was a winner. He was going to punch someone in the face. He was going to go on the field, and you know, he could do whatever he wanted. And even in these new times now, the bad boy wants the good boy wants the bad girl, and I mean, I'm just telling you, human nature sometimes until we grow up, and my contention is a whole lot of America is still growing up, So they have not yet developed haven't yet developed the instincts of what's BS quite yet. And we know that the Republican Party is full of BS. Continuing. Democrats should have Trump on the defensive in midterm 2018. Yet it feels the primary GOP messaging is doing that to them. In other words, while we should have them on the defensive, guess who's on the defensive? We are. Democrats, progressives, liberals, somehow are now on the defensive. Anyhow, the polls still look very, very good today for taking the House of Representatives. According to FiveThirtyEight, Democrats still have, because I don't want to be alarmist here. I do not want to be alarmist at all. What I want to do is keep you aware. So, Democrats still have a 78% chance of taking over the House. But that leaves a 22% chance the Republicans could hold. The Republicans are building a message that will mobilize a large percentage of their base. They are giving a depressed GOP, even if smaller, hope. They're giving these guys, albeit a smaller Republican Party, a boost. A boost. Now, in contrast, the Democratic Party, unlike the progressive activists, in many areas are virtually on the sideline. It's no wonder, and this is, I digress from the blog, it's no wonder that guys like Beto O'Rourke, even though we're all backing him and great and all of that, he just about took the campaign into his own hands, just like President Obama did the same thing with OFA. Because he realized if he wanted to win, he had to go take it. I've seen a whole lot of activists here, activist politicians, I call them, do the same thing. My good friend, Bill McLeod, he decided, Bill McLeod, let me say it right, William Bill McLeod, running for judge in Harris County, did the same thing. What is the same thing? Say, I'm going to grab this darn bull by the horns and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it and I'm going to do the necessary work and build an army to go win. But you know what? Activists doesn't get the airwaves. Activists doesn't get the mainstream media. They don't get the coverage that a Nancy Pelosi and a Chuck Schumer and all these guys get. They don't get that. All right? That is what we need. We need the Democratic Party and those folks going out there and get in the performance out of all the media that they can. So anyhow, the Republicans are building a message that will mobilize a large percentage of their base. They're giving a depressed GOP and even smaller hope. In contrast, the Democratic Party, unlike the progressive activists in many areas, are virtually on the sidelines. They seem to want to coast to win because they fear the message their base and most Americans want. You know, it's no accident, right? It's not an accident that we are coasting, folks. It's not an accident that many in the establishment are allowing just a coasting to win, with the expectation to win. Because you see, what progressives really want, what most Americans really want, many of them don't necessarily support themselves. Republicans should be entirely on the defensive on healthcare, a booming economy for the few, a tax cut that will force the reduction of Social Security and Medicare, the poisoning of their base with deregulations, low unemployment with no post-inflation wage gain, and much more. And I just said that sort of some of that I said in technocratic terms. We need to simplify the way we say that. But in other words, right here in Texas, we have Cancer Alley, Pasadena. Instead of passing regulations that will help these people not get as sick as they get, the asthma that they have and all the different proclivities to illnesses that they have out there, what did the Republican Party do? They deregulated even further that will allow the TCEQ to re-regulate and drop a lot of chemicals that can hurt your constituency. And it's not, and who are they hurting? They're hurting their own more so than others. A lot of these areas, these factory areas with oil wells and otherwise, it's their people. So they're voting for their own deaths. They're voting for their own illnesses. We are not giving these folks their message. We are not giving people the message. But they are building a simplified, the Republicans that is, they are building a simplified message in politics. One must put the opposition on the defensive first. Remember the phrase, if you are explaining, then you're losing. If you are explaining, then you are losing. We should have had them explaining right now. And what I see right now is that the people doing a hell of a lot of explaining are Democrats. Democrats need not be explaining at this point in time. Instead, Republicans are starting to build a cohesive winning message that all conservative and right-wing media politicians and pundits are rolling out off their tongues ad nauseum. And they are doing it in a smart, conniving manner. I mean, it's being built. Their message is being built. And I am watching, as last night as I watched the president, when I come out and I said, I didn't watch the president as someone who hated him. I watched the president as if I was an uninformed American citizen. And when watching the president as an uninformed American citizen, I saw like, oh my God, winning. Okay. I know all of you are saying, Egberto, are you crazy? I mean, we are going to win this stuff in a landslide. Come on, look at all the polls. Folks, remember, winning doesn't mean necessarily getting the numerical majority of people. Winning means getting the right people out there to the polls. Winning means getting your people out to the polls. Winning means giving your people a reason to come out to vote, meaning they don't think you're just more of the same. The reason Democrats have been losing for over and over again has very little to do with we deserve to have lost. It's because people didn't see within our narrative, people didn't see within our doings the things that really set the back and made their lives better. I mean, and the problem is Democrats will kind of just tell you things, right? Republicans hammer it into you. We are going to do this. The tax cut is going to save you money. It's a lie, but you believe it because they tell you. Okay. Instead, Republicans are starting to build all this. It's a conniving message. They're starting to build it. So, Republicans were ready to confirm Brett Kavanaugh irrespective of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's testimony, but in hindsight, that would have been a disaster. So who comes to their rescue? Long-suffering Jeff Flake through Republicans, not Democrats or women, a lifeline. He got the confirmation delayed for a week for an FBI investigation. It turned out the FBI investigation was a farce, but presented the necessary point to add to a winning Republican midterm 2018 narrative. You see, it was lined up perfectly. You know, we were sitting down there complaining, we got our FBI investigation, and I wrote a piece saying, it's crap, it's a farce. From before the results came out, I explained why it's a farce, because there was nothing attached to what was going to be investigated. And of course, the executive is controlled by the president, and the president will ensure that only certain things get taken care of. And that's what they did. It came back with raving reviews. There's nothing out there for El Señor Kavanaugh at all. So, pre, during, and post Kavanaugh confirmation hearing, progressives have been peacefully protesting the ascension of a misogynist to the Supreme Court. They got more coverage on the mainstream media than they usually would get relative to the disproportionate coverage right-wing small protests tend to get. And the right wing has decided to repackage it all into what they hope is a winning message in the closing weeks leading up to the midterm 2018 elections. Interestingly, my daughter sent me a tweet from her feed forwarded by a friend, a family friend that is, the host of the Dan Bongino Show podcast and former Secret Service agent, seemed to have written the tweet on his Twitter account. It said the following: Kavanaugh winning, Gorsuch winning, booming economy winning, tax cuts winning, 3.7% unemployment winning, regulatory reform winning, galvanize united GOP winning, Democrat media complex, regulatory reform winning, galvanize united GOP winning, Democrat media complex exposed winning, deep state panicking winning. Wow. That's all the tweet says. And it's all over the place, right? That's all the tweet says. It is simple. It sounds like we're winners. It's a lot of things that the man said he was going to do, which he really hadn't done, but he's winning. Any progressive could deconstruct those wins into real losses. However, the tweet is concise and tight. Those who are predisposed to be Republican and conservative can run with it because on the surface it seems accurate to the low information citizen. Now, the message every Republican politician, media outlet, and pundits are pushing is clear. They repeat ad nauseum that the protesters were mobs. I don't know how many of you watch Fox News today. I don't know how many of you watch people interviewing, Republicans interviewing on MSNBC, CNN, and on all the other networks. The message was clear. The message was absolutely clear. The word mob, referring to the protesters, the peaceful protesters, mob. That is being cauterized into people's head. The mob. Not only that, it's one syllable. So what? We had FBI. We had Kavanaugh, innocent from the president on every single cable network, including broadcast networks, meaning ABC, CBS, NBC, live on TV. America heard the message, FBI investigation, Kavanaugh, innocent, Ford, hoax. That's what America heard. Every network on TV last night, every American heard, again, I'll repeat it for those that are just coming in. They heard FBI investigation, Kavanaugh, innocent. A hoax, Ford. That's what they heard. The president of the United States, every major network, every major cable channel gave him the opportunity to say that. Did I see Nancy Pelosi get to hell out of bed? Did I see Chuck Schumer? Did I see those guys call an immediate press conference fast and say, we have something to do here, people, and come to the stage which was given to the president right away? Did they come to the defense of Christine Blasey Ford immediately? Not only to her defense, but to the defense of what those protesters did in the streets when the president and everybody else continue to call them a mob. Did they make a big issue out of it? Had it been the converse, Republicans would be out there making a stink. These guys are unconstitutional. It shows they do not believe in the Constitution. The mere fact that innocent American citizens are doing their duty according to the Constitutional's First Amendment, freedom of speech. They are doing it. And the fact that they're calling them mobs shows their disregard for the Constitution of the United States of America. Did we have any Democrats of stature come out and say that? Immediately when that message was there, when we still had the eyeballs of those people who watched the president on every single network, on every single cable network, on every single broadcast network, on every single podcast all over the darn country, did we hear them say that? No. What did we get? Silence. Silence. Acquiescence. The expectation that no matter what, we will win. Coasting to a win. You know, when these things, when you start to change people's minds and you get a directionality, that keeps going in the same direction. When Hillary Clinton numbers started to tank, they started to progressively tank. They were coasting. They were coasting. They were hoping that the coast will still bring victory. Michael Moore said, hey, I'm calling Brooklyn, Texas. Brooklyn, please get your butts out here to Michigan. It's cratering in Michigan. We need you in Michigan. We know better. We are the elitist guys. We know what's right. We're not coming to Michigan. No, we're not coming to Michigan. We're not going to the Appalachian portion of Pennsylvania. We are not going to do any of that. We are winning. Look at the polls. We look at the polls. Look at the polls. So right now we have a 78% chance of winning. We only have to drop a little 28 point something points and we're not winning anymore. You know, we just have to drop that. Folks, this is how you fail. You fail when you think you've got it. You fail when you think you've won. No matter how good I am at anything, I am always cautious. No matter how much I know that I'm right, I'm always putting that into the people I'm talking's head. I am right. I'm right. Even though, oh yes, I know you're right. You know why I'm right? And I'm constantly telling you, reinforcing of the message. Sometimes it can get tedious. Sometimes people will push back. But you know what, folks? Especially in politics, it's something one has to do. It's something one has to do, especially in politics. I just lost my screen because I guess my soliloquy was a bit too long. But anyhow, I'm back. So the Republican, let me go back to that paragraph because there are a whole lot of new people that came in. But here we go. Folks, if you're just joining us, please do remember to share these programs. It is so imperative that others hear this as well. Here we go. I'm going to repeat that paragraph. Now, the message every Republican politician, media outlet, and pundits are pushing is clear. They repeat ad nauseum that the protesters were mobs while packaging videos deceivingly. Repeating lies sometimes cauterize into truths in the psyche of the uninformed. The Republican bogus FBI investigation allowed Trump to go on national cable and broadcast news all at once during the Kavanaugh second swearing in to say that Kavanaugh was found innocent and that the Ford accusation was a hoax. And there was not one major Democrat of stature that immediately called a news conference to refute what the president did. You want to win, you're ready to answer, you're ready to fight right away. That is what you expect of fighters. That is what Americans expect of the people who claim they want them to vote for them. You want the truth? That woman put herself on the line. Christine Blasey Ford. The president disparages her. Where is Nancy Pelosi? Where is Dianne Feinstein? Where is Cory Booker? Where's Kamala Harris? Where are they? When these messages come out, why are they in front of a camera? They have the ability, they have the gravitas to get a camera in front of them immediately. Not only that, because these darn news stations are constantly looking for content, it isn't hard for that. Where is our fast response team? Where is our team that continuously have the folks monitoring the TV like we do here? We have a product called, and I'll give out my secret. We have a product called HD Home Run here. It has 3 tuners on it. And what we do is we continuously tape several channels continuously so that we can go back and see other things that have happened. Because that's what we do. As activist journalists, that's what we do. In this case, it's only one person doing all that damn work, which means you have to stay in front of this stuff all of the times, folks. But people, please understand what we're saying here. We need fighters like those guys on the line right now, like Indivisible Houston's groups that are going around canvassing, like independent groups right through Harris County and other places going around fighting. That's what we need. Where are they? Where is the party? Even if the National Party didn't do its job in having a fast response team to come immediately go on TV and refute the lies of the right, why aren't individual parties protecting their turf? Why aren't they going to say, hey, I got to get to channel 13, channel 11, and channel 4 here in Houston, Texas, and around to make sure that the message is clear, at least in my territory. If the nationals aren't going to do it, I'm going to do it in my territory. Where is that push? Where is that fight? Where's that stuff saying, I want to win for my people? And my people is 90-something% of Americans. The others can take care of themselves because they are the extractors. Anyhow, did the major leaders of the Democratic Party fight their way to a microphone and TV camera to refute the lie? No. I will repeat what I have said and constantly, okay, saying ad nauseum, and I wish every Democrat would adopt. And for the regular listeners, sorry if you've heard this before, but there are many newcomers who haven't. Midterm 2018 must highlight what progressives will do. So there are two things that they have to do. Número uno, la primera cosa que tienen que hacer, the first thing that they have to do is put Republicans on the defensive before they are put on the defensive. Pon a los republicanos en la defensa antes de que ellos están puestos en la defensa. Whether you are whatever community you are in, that is what you've got to do. First, put them on the defensive. You're killing folks. In Texas, it's easy, right? The Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, which was free. And then 10% after the third year. And instead, you forced many to die. You did not accept the tax cut that you gave. Didn't come to Texas. Didn't come to Maryland. Didn't come to Alabama. Folks, put them on the defensive. Let them defend these things that you can prove to the constituents in 2 words, in 10 words, in a sentence, in a phrase. Let them come to the defense, because if they're defending themselves, they cannot be attacking you. And as you have them on the defense, you start telling Americans, but when you elect us, this is what we are going to do for you. And I wrote this few months ago, actually, and I continue to repeat this part of that blog that I wrote because I think it is on the money. It is one that one can build on, but one can start and use in every single district, conservative, liberal, or otherwise, because it affects every one of these people equally. Every one of these people equally. And it goes as follows. All those people who mobilize for the Kavanaugh fight must be given hope that midterm 2018 still matters. We have to remind them of all the issues a progressive win will ultimately start mitigating. Let's continue to remind folks of these 5 issues that we all support. And when I say we all support, I don't mean just progressives support it. I don't mean only conservatives support it. I don't mean only liberals support it. Everybody support these things. Progressives must define their opponents first so that it is them who are on the defensive. Then tell poor and middle class America in a district specific manner what is in it for them. Notice I said you tell them this story, but in a district specific manner, what is in it for them. It must be clear to them what they expect out of voting for progressives. Progressives will fix the healthcare issue once and for all with a single payer Medicare for all system that will ensure that your total expenditures go down and still have private health care. Progressives will provide student loan relief. All those students that are living with mom and pop because they're steadily in debt will be freed. And in having freedom, the economy will expand because these people that are free now can go and buy homes. They can buy cars. They can do all these things. I mean, we freed up the money to unlock the derivatives during the crisis in 2008. We can do that again. The money is there. Money is fiat. We have the ability to do it. Don't accept the lie from establishment Republicans, from establishment Democrats, or anybody else. America has the wherewithal to do all these things that I'm mentioning right now. They can do it. The money is there. Progressives will provide need-based subsidized child care for anyone who wants to work. We talk about folks not working or not having the ability to work. We are going to make sure your kids are taken care of so that you can go ahead and get a job, so that you can go ahead and improve your personal economy. We will decriminalize marijuana, and we will start not treating a drug problem as a felony. We're not treating a drug problem as something you get locked up for, but for what it is, a disease. Something that pharmaceuticals have created that allowed you to be addicted to it, and then we throw you in jail. You see, you have to realize something, my dear friends. The businesses create a feed-in chain, right? Yes, the manufacturers of these drugs throw them on the market so you get addicted to them. And then when you get addicted to them, the cops come into the place and they throw you in jail. And when they throw you in jail, the prison industrial complex make more money off of you through the taxpayers paying for your bill being in jail. You see, it's an ever-ending story of private corporations in effect creating a disease that is mitigated by jail, which private corporations then again play a big part in. You say, well, Egberto, jails are still run mostly by the public sector. Yes, that's true, but it's still funded through taxpayers, and it's still populated. The food come privately, the clothes come privately, so that other industrial complex is then again funded by us. So we created a new pipeline of profitability based on what? Crime. Folks, it is so important that you understand what is going on in this country. The book that I'm writing, and I'm going to digress. Well, let me give the last point, then I'll come back to the book. Anyhow, and lastly, Democrats will make sure the criminal justice system live up to justice is blind. Meaning, you're a poor white person, you're a poor black person, you're a black person, you're a Latino, you're a person of color who, black, Latinos, people of color, look, anybody who wants to be honest must understand that the criminal justice system is in fact a racist system. There's no two ways about it. And if you want to be honest and you want to be an ally, it is something we all should mitigate together, but it's something that everybody can go on because the way it is phrased, Democrats, progressives will make the criminal justice system live up to what it's supposed to be because, you know, we like to believe we are all altruistic. We like to believe that we believe in doing the right thing. So therefore, there you got it. Anyhow, those 5 bullet points expressed in different terms will work in every district in America. It appeals to millennials, people of color, all working class people, parents, and every demographic in between. Most importantly, these bullet points afford Americans a path to self-sufficiency. It frees them from the aberrations in the economy that stunts innovation, the ability to start one's business, and the dependency and the enslavement to the corporation. One begs that every Democrat who gets on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, HLN, or any other network would steer every topic to these bullet points. What do you think of Kavanaugh? What do you think about Kavanaugh? Well, I think Kavanaugh is an aberration. I think that we got our second misogynist on the court. But let me tell you, Democrats are really running to correct things. And how are we going to correct things? We're going to correct things by making sure we fix health care. We're going to make sure and give student relief. We're going to make sure to subsidize child care to ensure that people who want to work can go to work. We're going to decriminalize marijuana and make sure that people with drug problems are taken care of. Those poor people all in these different areas that are suffering, we're going to heal their suffering. Democrats will also make sure that the legal system, the justice system takes care of everybody. So while we concentrate a little bit on Kavanaugh, we are going to make sure that we take care of the issues that take care of people, the average American citizen. And you have that narrative down to a minute or a minute and a half. Just like Republicans have their lies down to a minute and a half. You get that done and you win. Because you first put them on the defensive because what they're doing is evil. And then you tell them immediately thereafter. Proving their evilness is not difficult. Showing that Texans are dying is not difficult. Showing that Americans are dying is not difficult. Showing that you're extracting monies from folks it's not difficult. Showing that your land is being polluted is not difficult. Show that the stuff you're throwing in the air is killing you is not difficult. But you see, some of those messages also hurt constituencies, meaning, not constituencies, some of those messages also hurt the benefactors of some of the more established Democrats as well. Folks, the left rail and the right rail are both going in the same direction. Remember that. We need a derailment. It is still not too late. However, anyone who remembers the Buffalo Bills comeback on the Houston Oilers should have pause. To date, it is still the largest comeback in NFL history. Democrats could themselves make history if they don't stop being insane, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Folks, the telephone number is 646-716-5812. Caller, I'm coming to you in a minute, my friend from Singapore, but I just want to go through the messages real quickly right here on the Facebook page. But before I do that, I need to do a plug. What am I thinking? I need to do a plug. Folks, remember this is a progressive show that needs your support. Please go ahead and go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. We can only do this with your support. We can only give the information out there with your support. We can only do all these things with your support, my dear friends. So please go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. It is imperative that we support. Look, I'm writing this new book, How to Make America Utopia. Every time I release a chapter, it goes online, and those of you who have subscribed to the channel, subscribe to our Politics Done Right, will be privy to that immediately. So as I write, the first chapter is out. It's online. Anybody who's a supporter of Politics Done Right, they can go see it. Okay, I'm coming to, let's see, 917, you're hot. Come on in. 917.
Hi, Alberto. It's Jonathan Greenberg.
Jonathan Greenberg, talk to me.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. I like your show. I like what you're talking about. I like the idea of solutions, Alberto. So congratulations on the new book about how to make the utopia.
Thank you so kindly, my friend.
People look for that. And I do agree that there are enough resources. And, I've been thinking similarly about, framing the 2020 election as we head toward it, and even this election, about, what you get. Like there are all these people. I think it's going to depend on turning people out to vote who've not voted in the past. So what do people get if they vote for progressive Democrats? And I think the child care is a really good one. I think Medicare for all is really the linchpin. I think because it's easy to explain. I think it's really powerful. And I think writing down student debt, as Elizabeth Warren once suggested, from the 5 or 6% it's at to the same rate that we give to the largest banks, the Federal Reserve, like 1% or 1/2 of 1%.
Right.
Will put hundreds of dollars into the pockets of people in every red and blue district.
Absolutely so. And that is money that gets circulated in that district immediately, because that is ready income that these people have left for them to put right in. And these are the people who spends. And anybody who studies Economic 101 knows that. And those are things that I'll be explaining in How to Make America Utopia. So, folks, again, anything else you want to add, Jonathan? Great hearing from you.
Yeah, just that it's really nice to hear your show, and looking forward to to hearing more and talking more. And I think you're on the right track, and we really have to have a progressive evolution of our political system with real change.
I
if
tell you
we're
something
going
that's
to
interesting,
turn this
Jonathan.
ship around.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I tell you something that's interesting. You say we have to have a change in politics. The people have already changed. When every poll that is done that checks on these that checks on where the average American citizen is, says that the average American citizen is progressive. The people who are not changing is the politician. Now, why aren't they changing? Because of how they're funded. Why are even, and I'm talking about Democrats as well. I'm not talking about the progressive Democrats, but I'm talking about establishment Democrats as well. They continue to fail. In fact, even the way they frame, they should be our biggest allies for Medicare for all. Democrats in general should be our biggest allies because it is fiscally responsible. But what happens is they have adapted the same framing that many on the other side have expressed, which is, oh, it's going to cost a whole lot more in taxes. Duh, it's going to cost a whole lot more in taxes, but it'll cost the individual less because instead of paying taxes to a corporation who uses some of those taxes, meaning the taxes being your premium, going to executives and shareholders, it's all going into healthcare. So, they have refused, the Democrats themselves, I'm talking about establishment Democrats themselves, have refused to actually explain Medicare for all in an honest manner, and instead have adapted the same right-wing lie, which is why I constantly talk about the left wing of the left rail and the right rail going in the same direction. So, Jonathan, it was a pleasure speaking to you. And by the way, congratulations on the New York Post article. I don't think I've told you that New York Post article that you found, that you wrote.
Washington Post.
The Washington Post article that you wrote, and that you found all that those recordings that you did when you interviewed Donald Trump. That was some great work on your part, my friend. So keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you, Egberto, and you too.
Take care now. Okay, folks, let me go ahead and get to these. And I'm coming to you right now, Singapore, in a little bit. Let's see. Michael Rudnin, and welcome aboard. Kathleen, welcome aboard. Michael, if Democrats want a blue wave, they have to stand up for the issues. Actually, very true. Let's see. I'm usually out of the loop when it comes to activists and rallies. That's okay, because you know what? You are a part, Mr. Rudnin, of this movement. How are you a part of this movement? First of all, thank you very much for being one of the moderators in the How to Make America Utopia group. Forgot to tell you guys, anybody who gets who subscribe, they're also in that group. Michael Rudnin's is a group where you can give suggestions. Anybody who gives suggestions for the book that I use in the book itself will be cited, of course, with your permission. So your name will be in a book that's at Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and everywhere else. Alex Ballard, totally true. That's why I'm progressive. Great guy. Great show today, fellas. Love the energy. Thank you, Chase Escamilla. William, hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for being here. I wish you had called in and give your stint as well. Very, very important, because you're doing some very hard work. You run for judge, and at the same time, you run a campaign that helps a whole lot of people. Michael Cisak, my resident conservative. I love you, dude. Actually, Haley will be there in the UN until the end of the year. Yes, she will. Let's see. Sheeply like low noises and lights. We will have to sink to their level. I don't even say sink to their level. We don't have to sink to their level, my dear friend. What we can do is just refute them. Refuting is powerful. Martin Sanders, Dems need to pick 3 topics to focus on, prioritize, or message will be diluted. So very much. I think we can actually do it with the 5 that I mentioned there, but if you could concentrate those 5 into 3, Martin, and I would love to see you concentrate those 3 into 5 in such a manner that it touches people everywhere. Man, I would go ahead and post that as well. So go for that. Send it to me. I'll post it under your name. William Bill McLeod, please listen, everybody. Yes, thank you, Bill, for promoting that. Did you all hear about James Baker turning state's evidence in the grand jury and testified in never didn't hear about that, my brother Cisak. Let's see, a pattern of authoritarianism. True. Trump and the Republicans repeat a lie until yes, that's what they do. Alex Ballard, go Bernie. Yeah, go Bernie. All right. You know, I was a Bernie delegate in Philly, so I'm a Bernie guy. But you know what? I am a people's guy. And everybody who follows Politics Done Right, EgbertoWillies.com, FailedDemocrats.com, they know that actually the people, half of the folks who sent me to Philly were Hillary Clinton supporters. That is the kind of that is the kind of integrity people want, and that is the kind of that I intend to always give them. So yes, Anyhow, let's see. William, we need to stand up and work to make a difference. Absolutely so. Alex Ballard, the big picture. Egberto, take calls before messages. I took the calls, buddy. I took the calls. Okay, Mike Cisak. Michael, there are more job openings now than there are people looking for jobs. Absolutely so. But here's the thing. That defies anybody who say they believe in the current supply and demand and capitalism. If there are more jobs open than there is demand, then economic theory as practiced in the United States should say wages should be going through the roof for those particular jobs that they're looking for. And guess what? It's not. The wages are not going to the roof. So we have a fallacy about how things work in this economy, which is something I've been saying for a very long time. Regular capitalist economists can say as they please. We have a rigged economy. Otherwise, with that many jobs available and not people to fill them, those prices of jobs would have gone up. Let me get to my good friend in Malaysia, in Singapore. Let's see. Come on in, Singapore. Where are you, Singapore? Oh, come on. Let's see. All right, Singapore, you're hot. Come on in.
Yes, my friend, Mr. Egberto. You know, absolutely, your program is so beautiful because you break down everything for the people of the United States. If you want your country back, you must follow these certain rules and regulation, and then you will get your country back. But, I hope American people listen your show more and more every day, and hopefully the change will come, because this is not government that is for the people, by the people, for the people. This government is for corporations only, and they don't give a damn about us. Indeed. So if
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mike, you hit it absolutely correctly, my friend. It is government by the corporations. And you know what? There's something else that I constantly tell people, and for those that I'm hearing it again, forgive me, but we get new people we get thousands of new people every time. So I don't know which group is here at any given time. But here's an interesting thing, folks, and this is very important, right? Our job, let's say we get our blue wave, which I hope we do. Our job is just beginning, because the corporation doesn't go to sleep. The plutocracy does not go to sleep. Immediately after the new crop of people win, when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez make it into Congress, she will have the lobbyists at her door, and they will have all kinds of offers, and they are already making a psychological profile of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They are looking for how they can reach her heart, her head, in such a manner that she thinks she's still doing something altruistic as she serves the corporation. That is what they do. There are very few people that have the dignity of, let's say, a Bernie Sanders, who can stick thick or thin with their position. We hope Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and other progressives coming in will do so. Give me, you only have about 5 seconds, my friend. Give me a quick stick closer at 5 seconds.
Yes. If you want your country back, you must voice your
vote.
Objections to the radio station, TV stations. Call everywhere you can. And talk and let them people know what do you want, really.
Gotta let you go,
we
my
want
dear
the
friend,
free health care.
Gotta let you go.
Otherwise,
thank you so kindly,
we have
my friend.
problem.
Thank you so kindly. Gotta let you go. Folks, please, again, this is the end of the show. Please go ahead and go to patreon.com. You can click the link. If you're on Facebook Live, click the link on the show. It's patreon.com/politics done right. Please become a subscriber. It is very, very inexpensive to become a subscriber, and you will be moving the progressive message forward. You will be supporting independent media, and you will be on our wall. Not our wall, but we have a page that says, we have a thank you page with all the people who've actually gave us support. So please go ahead and go to patreon.com/politics done right. Thank you all who have called in. Thank you all who have been listening. We cannot do it without you. Even after the show is done, please be sure to share the show. That is how we are going to get this message out, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to get this message out. Patreon.com/politics done right to support it. How to make America utopia is your gift, if you will. As I am writing it, I will be releasing chapters online for you to see as it goes. The corresponding group that goes with this book, if you come up with suggestions that make it into the book, you will be cited in the book that will be sold all over. Thank you so kindly for being listening to the show. Thank you so kindly for sharing the show. Thank you for kindly for calling into the show. If you're on Blog Talk Radio Network, please also remember to tweet the show and go ahead and get the link and put it on your Facebook page if you have one, or on any page if you have one. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end my show every single time. I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.